This is TERcets, a literary podcast by the Ekphrastic Review. We have the most and the best writing inspired by art. I'm your host, Brian Sammons. Welcome everyone to the debut episode of TERcets. Today I'll be reading you some excellent writing by Cynthia Chung, Nan Wigington, and Catherine Graham. All of the writing you'll hear at TERcets can be found at the website of the Ekphrastic Review at ekphrastic.net. But first, if you're not familiar with the Ekphrastic Review, or what ekphrastic even means, allow me to explain. The Ekphrastic Review is an online journal devoted entirely to writing inspired by visual art. The word ekphrastic comes from the Greek word ekphrasis, meaning description. But here at the Ekphrastic Review, we consider any writing inspired by art, whether it directly describes the art or not, as ekphrastic writing. Founded in 2015 by Laurette Lazajic, the Ekphrastic Review is a unique resource that runs entirely on the volunteer efforts of its founder and editor and her team of guest editors and social media promoters. So, please, consider making a gift at our website to support us. Okay, to start things off, we have Cynthia Chung. Cynthia is a practicing physician in Texas. The poem that I'm about to read is her debut work for the Ekphrastic Review, and it was published at our website on January 3rd, 2021. Her inspiration was a marble statue of a wounded Amazon created by an unknown Roman sculptor in the 1st or 2nd century AD. As with all of the works that you'll hear on TERcets, you can find the art that inspired her work at our website, accompanied by the poem. Feel free to hit the pause button and go find that image so you can explore it while listening to the reading. Or just go check it out later. The Wounded Amazon at the Metropolitan Museum of Art by Cynthia Chung. There are dozens of us, my stone sisters and I. Most lack some anatomy, a broken off arm, legs, a head, but a small marble breast usually lies exposed, salvaged. I don't need to see my sisters to know their right arms, always lifted in mourning. Though we stand unhorsed, we are always taller than you, who spring from flesh. Look up, and you'll see the splitting wound in our armpits, yet no pain cut onto our faces. We consort with your monsters. Like hounds, we nose out your underbelly, your soft, secret unease. It's you who are the meat. Next up, Nan Wigington. Nan lives and works in Colorado's capital city. Her flash fiction has appeared in Pithead Chapel, the Ekphrastic Review, Gordon Square Review, and in After the Pause. The flash fiction piece I'm about to read to you was published at the Ekphrastic Review on January 2nd, 2021, and it was the winner of our Ekphrastic Christmas contest this year. Congratulations, Nan. She was inspired to write this by an 1890 painting by Giovanni Secantini called Return from the Woods. Return from the Woods by Nan Wigington. Although she's not tired, Gretel stops, drops the reins. The toboggan she has pulled for miles glides over the crust of snow, bumps her calves, knocks loose a dusting of green needles from her shoulders, a cone of gray hair from her cap. She stares at the village, its low-slung roofs, the yellow lights that shimmer from this window, that. No smoke billows from any chimney. They haven't changed, still cold, still hungry, still living by dim candlelight. She wonders who might notice her return. The father, the mother, could only be dead. But surely someone remembered. Hansel, Gretel, the girl, the boy, their journey into the ravenous wild. Something black flaps in the church belfry. Crows? A new priest drunk on wine in winter, fumbling up the spiral stairs to ring the vespers bell? Did the people pray anymore? A weight of bread bulges in Gretel's coat pocket, presses against her thigh. She pulls it out, bites into its brown sweetness. It tastes of smoke and ginger, witches and brothers, sin and cinnamon. It sucks at her teeth like sour fruit and jelly. Oh, the village. They would only understand salt and fat, never sugar or skin, incest and lust, witch and boy, boy and girl, girl and woman. It was how they lived, safe and warm in a magic cottage, all appetite and answer, touch and pleasure. These people in those dirty dwellings only knew pain. They bore so many children for the oven. Why are the children the ones we always sacrifice? Hans had asked once. Because they are so delicious and fat, the witch had answered. Who grew tired of the dirty kisses first, the squall of birth, the cloying odor of mother's milk? Meat made them all angry. Hans said he was tired of picking out the bones. The witch's spices grew bitter and exotic. Gretel found herself wandering away, never bringing back the mushrooms or the wild strawberries she found. Hans would not chop the wood anymore. The witch refused to bring in the water, choosing to fill their cups with supernatural wine instead. They all grew gaunt, moral, quick to argue about what was wrong, what was right. Hans succumbed first, his eyes, his mouth wide open, as if screaming. The witch died in her bed, a smile on her lips, her sweet wine staining her sheets, her wand tangled in her tresses. Gretel grieved for a while, but then she turned a rock into licorice, the river into marzipan. She transformed a bear into a tree trunk, snakes into branches. She stoked the witch's ovens again, but made only nut pies and raisin bread. Gretel looks at the village again, thinks of turning back. The people will probably throw her in a pit, hang her from a tree, stone her, burn her. Still, she wanted to tell them of the house, its impossible arches, its sugar windows, its bitter flavor. She wanted to tell them of its promise and its lie. Yes, God walks its passageways, but the devil walks right beside him. Gretel puts the bread back in her pocket. It's no lighter than when she took the first bite. She picks up the reins, wraps them around her shoulders, and trudges on. The wood, piled high in the toboggan behind her, writhes, kicks, like a child waiting to be born. And last but not least, we have Katharine Graham. Katharine is an award-winning poet, novelist, and creative writing teacher. Her sixth poetry collection, The Celery Forest, was named a CBC Best Book of the Year and was a finalist for the Fred Cogswell Award for Excellence in Poetry. Her work has been translated into Greek, Serbo-Croatian, Bangla, Chinese, and Spanish, and she has appeared on CBC Radio's The Next Chapter. She teaches creative writing at the University of Toronto SCS, where she won an Excellence in Teaching Award. Her publications include Arc Poetry Magazine, Poetry Daily, Glasgow Review of Books, Event Magazine, Joyland, the Malahat Review, and she was recently shortlisted for the Montreal International Poetry Prize. Aether, an out-of-body lyric, and her second novel, The Most Cunning Heart, are forthcoming. The poem you're about to hear is titled Peach and was published in the Ekphrastic Review on December 28, 2020. Katharine's inspiration was the portrait of Marie-Mélanie Connell, painted by an anonymous artist of the Canadian School of Painting around 1810. Peach by Katharine Graham. Permanent shrug, collarbone, tilt, skin the tint of peach fabric, hair coiled into ? Her pressed lips, about to speak. And that does it. Thank you so much for listening. This was just our first episode, and we've got lots more in store. So follow us, like us, love us, support us, and please tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you. We'd also like to thank all of the poets and artists featured in today's podcast and every day at the Ekphrastic Review. And finally, the songs you've heard in this episode are by Giuditti, and the cover art is by Giovanni Segantini. You can learn more about all of these artists in the show notes or by visiting our website, ekphrastic.net.